leadership. And it's also why she will not be distracted by nonsense. Kamala knows that in order to win, we cannot lose focus. America, in this election, you have to decide who to trust with your family's future.
So we're live from the floor, and the second gentleman is speaking right now. And we're going to let you watch this live, and then we're going to watch Michelle Obama after this, but he is finishing his speech right now.
I know it means I'm about to hear that embarrassing voicemail again. However, that's not all I'll be hearing. That same night, I'll be hearing my wife, Kamala Harris, accept your nomination for President of the United States. And with your help, she will lead with joy and toughness, with that laugh and that look, with compassion and conviction. She'll lead from the belief that wherever we come from, whatever we look like, we're strongest when we fight for what we believe in, not just against what we fear. Kamala Harris was exactly the right person for me at an important moment in my life. And at this moment in our nation's history, she is exactly the right president. Thank you so much.
Please welcome former First Lady Michelle Obama.
Something wonderfully magical is in the air, isn't it? Yeah. You know, we're feeling it here in this arena, but it's spreading all across this country we love. A familiar feeling that's been buried too deep for far too long. You know what I'm talking about. It's the contagious power of hope. The anticipation, the energy, the exhilaration of once again being on the cusp of a brighter day. The chance to vanquish the demons of fear, division, and hate that have consumed us and continue pursuing the unfinished promise of this great nation, the dream that our parents and grandparents fought and died and sacrificed for. America, hope is making a comeback. Yeah. But to be honest, I am realizing that until recently, I have mourned the dimming of that hope. and maybe you've experienced the same feelings, is that deep pit in my stomach, a palpable sense of dread about the future. And for me, that mourning has also been mixed with my own personal grief. The last time I was here in my hometown was to memorialize my mother, the woman who showed me the meaning of hard work and humility and decency, the woman who set my moral compass high and showed me the power of my own voice. Folks, I still feel her loss so profoundly. I wasn't even sure if I'd be steady enough to stand before you tonight, but my heart compelled me to be here because of the sense of duty that I feel to honor her memory and to remind us all not to squander the sacrifices our elders made to give us a better future. You see, my mom, in her steady, quiet way, lived out that striving sense of hope every single day of her life. She believed that all children, all people have value, that anyone can succeed if given the opportunity. She and my father didn't aspire to be wealthy. In fact, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed. They understood that it wasn't enough for their kids to thrive if everyone else around us was drowning. So my mother volunteered at the local school. She always looked out for the other kids on the block. She was glad to do the thankless, unglamorous work that for generations has strengthened the fabric of this nation. The belief that if you do unto others, if you love thy neighbor, if you work and scrape and sacrifice, it will pay off. If not for you, then maybe for your children or your grandchildren. You see, those values have been passed on through family farms and factory towns, through tree-lined streets and crowded tenements, through prayer groups and National Guard units and social studies classrooms. Those were the values my mother poured into me until her very last breath. Kamala Harris and I built our lives on those same foundational values. Even though our mothers grew up an ocean apart, they shared the same belief in the promise of this country. That's why her mother moved here from India at 19. It's why she taught Kamala about justice, about the obligation to lift others up, about our responsibility to give more than we take. She'd often tell her daughter, don't sit around and complain about things, do something. So, with that voice in her head, Kamala went out and she worked hard in school, graduating from an HBCU, earning her law degree at a state school. And then she went on to work for the people, fighting to hold lawbreakers accountable, strengthening the rule of law, fighting to get folks better wages, cheaper prescription drugs, a good education, decent health care, child care, elder care. From a middle-class household, Kamala worked her way up to become Vice President of the United States of America. My girl, Kamala Harris, is more than ready for this moment. She is one of the most qualified people ever to seek the office of the presidency. And she is one of the most dignified, a tribute to her mother, to my mother, and to your mother too. The embodiment of the stories we tell ourselves about this country. Her story is your story. It's my story. It's the story of the vast majority of Americans trying to build a better life. Look, Kamala knows, like we do, that regardless of where you come from, what you look like, who you love, how you worship, or what's in your bank account, we all deserve the opportunity to build a decent life. All of our contributions deserve to be accepted and valued. Because no one has a monopoly on what it means to be an American. No one. Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation, not by spewing anger and bitterness, but by living a life of service and always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others. She understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward. We will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth. If we bankrupt a business or choke in a crisis, we don't get a second, third, or fourth chance. If things don't go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No. We don't get to change the rules so we always win. If we see a mountain in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top. No. We put our heads down. We get to work. In America, we do something. And throughout her entire life, that's what we've seen from Kamala Harris. The steel of her spine, the steadiness of her upbringing, the honesty of her example, and yes, the joy of her laughter and her light. It couldn't be more obvious. Of the two major candidates in this race, only Kamala Harris truly understands the unseen labor and unwavering commitment that has always made America great. Now, unfortunately, we know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be Black. Wait. I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those Black jobs? Look, it's his same old con. His same old con. Doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real ideas and solutions that will actually make people's lives better. Look, because cutting our health care, taking away our freedom to control our bodies, the freedom to become a mother through IVF like I did, those things are not going to improve the health outcomes of our wives, mothers, and daughters. Shutting down the Department of Education, banning our books, none of that will prepare our kids for the future. Demonizing our children for being who they are and loving who they love, look, that doesn't make anybody's life better. Instead, it only makes us small. And let me tell you this, going small is never the answer. Going small is the opposite of what we teach our kids. Going small is petty, it's unhealthy, and quite frankly, it's unpresidential. So, why would any of us accept this from anyone seeking our highest office? Why would we normalize that type of backward leadership? Doing so only demeans and cheapens our politics. It only serves to further discourage good, big-hearted people from wanting to get involved at all. America, our parents taught us better than that, and we deserve so much better than that. That's why we must do everything in our power to elect two of those good, big-hearted people. There is no other choice than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. No other choice. But as we embrace this renewed sense of hope, let us not forget the despair we have felt. Let us not forget what we are up against. Yes, Kamala and Tim are doing great now. We're loving it. They're packing arenas across the country. Folks are energized. We are feeling good. But remember, there are still so many people who are desperate for a different outcome, who are ready to question and criticize every move Kamala makes, who are eager to spread those lies, who don't want to vote for a woman, who will continue to prioritize building their wealth over ensuring that everyone has enough. So no matter how good we feel tonight or tomorrow or the next day, this is going to be an uphill battle. So folks, we cannot be our own worst enemies. No. See, because the minute something goes wrong, the minute a lie takes hold, folks, we cannot start wringing our hands. We cannot get a Goldilocks complex about whether everything is just right. And we cannot indulge our anxieties about whether this country will elect someone like Kamala instead of doing everything we can to get someone like Kamala elected. Kamala and Tim, they have lived amazing lives. And I am confident that they will lead with compassion, inclusion, and grace. But they are still only human. They are not perfect. And like all of us, they will make mistakes. But luckily, y'all, this is not just on them. No, this is up to us, all of us, to be the solution that we seek. It's up to all of us to be the antidote to the darkness and division. Look, I don't care how you identify politically, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or none of the above. This is our time to stand up for what we know in our hearts is right. To stand up, not just for our basic freedoms, but for decency and humanity, for basic respect, dignity, and empathy, for the values at the very foundation of this democracy. It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain, do something. So if they lie about her, and they will, we've got to do something. If we see a bad poll, and we will, we got to put down that phone and do something. If we start feeling tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in, we got to pick ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what? We only have 2.5 months, y'all, to get this done. Only 11 weeks to make sure every single person we know is registered and has a voting plan. So we cannot afford for anyone America to sit on their hands and wait to be called. Don't complain if no one from the campaign has specifically reached out to you to ask you for your support. There is simply no time for that kind of foolishness. You know what you need to do. So, consider this to be your official ask. Michelle Obama is asking you, no, I'm telling y'all to do something. Because you all, this election is going to be close. In some states, just a handful, listen to me, a handful of votes in every precinct could decide the winner. So we need to vote in numbers that erase any doubt. We need to overwhelm any effort to suppress us. Our fate is in our hands. In 77 days, we have the power to turn our country away from the fear, division, and smallness of the past. We have the power to marry our hope with our action. We have the power to pay forward the love, sweat, and sacrifice of our mothers and fathers and all those who came before us. We did it before, y'all, and we sure can do it again. Let us work like our lives depend on it. And let us keep moving our country forward and go higher, yes, always higher than we've ever gone before as we elect the next President and Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Thank you all. God bless. Now, before I go, I have one more job tonight. Yeah, one more job. You all, thank you for all the love, but it is now my honor to introduce somebody who knows a whole lot about hope. Someone who has spent his life strengthening our democracy, and let me tell you, as someone who lives with him, he wakes up every day, and thinks about what's best for this country. Please welcome America's 44th President and the love of my life, Barack Obama.
Chicago, Chicago! Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's enough. Thank you. Chicago! It's good to be home. It is good to be home, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fired up. I am feeling ready to go. Even if I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama. I am feeling hopeful because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible. Because we have a chance to elect someone who has spent her entire life trying to give people the same chances America gave her. Someone who sees you and hears you and will get up every single day and fight for you. The next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris. It's been 16 years since I had the honor of accepting this party's nomination for president. And I know that's hard to believe because I have not aged a bit. But it's true. And looking back, I can say without question that my first big decision as your nominee turned out to be one of my best. And that was asking Joe Biden to serve by my side as vice president. Other than some common Irish blood, Joe and I come from different backgrounds, but we became brothers. And as we worked together for 8, sometimes pretty tough years, what I came to admire most about Joe wasn't just his smarts, his experience. It was his empathy and his decency and his hard-earned resilience, his unshakable belief that everyone in this country deserves a fair shot. And over the last 4 years, those are the values America has needed most. At a time when millions of our fellow citizens were sick and dying, we needed a leader with the character to put politics aside and do what was right. At a time when our economy was reeling, we needed a leader with the determination to drive what would become the world's strongest recovery. 15 million jobs, higher wages, lower health care costs. At a time when the other party had turned into a cult of personality, we needed a leader who was steady and brought people together and was selfless enough to do the rarest thing there is in politics, putting his own ambition aside for the sake of the country. History will remember Joe Biden as an outstanding president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. And I am proud to call him my president, but I am even prouder to call him my friend. Now, the torch has been passed. Now it is up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in. And make no mistake, it will be a fight. For all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks, for all the rallies and the memes, this will still be a tight race in a closely divided country. A country where too many Americans are still struggling, where a lot of Americans don't believe government can help. And as we gather here tonight, the people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on. The other day I heard someone compare Trump to the neighbor who keeps running his leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. Now, from a neighbor, that's exhausting. From a president, it's just dangerous. The truth is, Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him and his rich friends. He killed a bipartisan immigration deal written in part by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress that would have helped secure our southern border because he thought trying to actually solve the problem would hurt his campaign. He doesn't. Do not boo. Vote. He doesn't seem to care if more women lose their reproductive freedom since it won't affect his life. And most of all, Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the real Americans, who of course support him, and the outsiders who don't. And he wants you to think that you'll be richer and safer if you will just give him the power to put those other people back in their place. It is one of the oldest tricks in politics from a guy who has let's face it, gotten pretty stale. We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse. America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris is ready for the job. This is a person who has spent her life fighting on behalf of people who need a voice and a champion. As you heard from Michelle, Kamala was not born into privilege. She had to work for what she's got. And she actually cares about what other people are going through. She's not the neighbor running the leaf blower. She's the neighbor rushing over to help when you need a hand. As a prosecutor, Kamala stood up for children who had been victims of sexual abuse. As an attorney general of the most populous state in the country, she fought big banks and for-profit colleges, securing billions of dollars for the people they had scammed. After the home mortgage crisis, she pushed me and my administration hard to make sure homeowners got a fair settlement. Didn't matter that I was a Democrat. Didn't matter that she had knocked on doors for my campaign in Iowa. She was going to fight to get as much relief as possible for the families who deserved it. As vice president, she helped take on the drug companies to cap the cost of insulin, lower the cost of health care, give families with kids a tax cut. And she is running for president with real plans to lower costs even more and protect Medicare and Medicaid and sign a law to guarantee every woman's right to make her own health care decisions. In other words, Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours. As president, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is. And in the White House, she will have an outstanding partner in Governor Tim Walz. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I love this guy. Tim is the kind of person who should be in politics. Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids, coached football, took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is, and he knows what's important. You can tell those flannel shirts he wears don't come from some political consultant. They come from his closet, and they have been through some stuff. They have been through some stuff. That's right. Together, Kamala and Tim have kept faith with America's central story. A story that says we are all created equal. All of us endowed with certain inalienable rights, that everyone deserves a chance, that even when we don't agree with each other, we can find a way to live with each other. That's Kamala's vision. That's Tim's vision. That's the Democratic Party's vision. And our job over the next 11 weeks is to convince as many people as possible to vote for that vision. Now, it won't be easy. The other side knows it's easier to play on people's fears and cynicism, always has been. They will tell you that government is inherently corrupt, that sacrifice and generosity are for suckers. And since the game is rigged, it's okay to take what you want and just look after your own. That's the easy path. We have a different task. Our job is to convince people that democracy can actually deliver. And in doing that, we can't just point to what we've already accomplished. We can't just rely on the ideas of the past. We need to chart a new way forward to meet the challenges of today. And Kamala understands this. She knows, for example, that if we want to make it easier for more young people to buy a home, we need to build more units and clear away some of the outdated laws and regulations that made it harder to build homes for working people in this country. That is a priority, and she's put out a bold new plan to do just that. On health care, we should all be proud of the enormous progress that we've made through the Affordable Care Act, providing millions of people access to affordable coverage, protecting millions more from unscrupulous insurance practices. I noticed, by the way, that since it's become popular, they don't call it Obamacare no more. But Kamala knows we can't stop there, which is why she'll keep working to limit out-of-pocket costs. Kamala knows that if we want to help people get ahead, we need to put a college degree within reach of more Americans. But she also knows college shouldn't be the only ticket to the middle class. We need to follow the lead of governors like Tim Walz, who said, if you've got the skills and the drive, you shouldn't need a degree to work for state government. And in this new economy, we need a president who actually cares about the millions of people all across this country who wake up every single day to do the essential, often thankless work, to care for our sick, to clean our streets, to deliver our packages. We need a president who will stand up for their right to bargain for better wages and working conditions. And Kamala will be that president. Yes, she can. Yes, she can. A Harris-Walz administration can help us move past some of the tired old debates that keep stifling progress. Because at their core, Kamala and Tim understand that when everybody gets a fair shot, we are all better off. They understand that when every child gets a good education, the whole economy gets stronger. When women are paid the same as men for doing the same job, all families benefit. They understand that we can secure our borders without tearing kids away from their parents, just like we can keep our streets safe while also building trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve and eliminating bias. That will make it better for everybody. Donald Trump and his well-heeled donors, they don't see the world that way. For them, one group's gains is necessarily another group's loss. For them, freedom means that the powerful can do pretty much what they please, whether it's fire workers trying to organize a union, or put poison in our rivers, or avoid paying taxes like everybody else has to do. Well, we have a broader idea of freedom. We believe in the freedom to provide for your family if you're willing to work hard. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water and send your kids to school without worrying if they'll come home. We believe that true freedom gives each of us the right to make decisions about our own life, how we worship, what our family looks like, how many kids we have, who we marry. And we believe that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make choices that are different than ours. That's okay. That's the America Kamala Harris and Tim Walz believe in. An America where we, the people, includes everyone. Because that's the only way this American experiment works. And despite what our politics might suggest, I think most Americans understand that. Democracy isn't just a bunch of abstract principles and dusty laws in some book somewhere. It's the values we live by. It's the way we treat each other, including those who don't look like us, or pray like us, or see the world exactly like we do. That sense of mutual respect has to be part of our message. Our politics have become so polarized these days that all of us across the political spectrum seem so quick to assume the worst in others, unless they agree with us on every single issue. We start thinking that the only way to win is to scold and shame and out-yell the other side. And after a while, regular folks just tune out, or they don't bother to vote. Now, that approach may work for the politicians who just want attention and thrive on division, but it won't work for us. To make progress on the things we care about, the things that really affect people's lives, we need to remember that we've all got our blind spots and contradictions and prejudices, and that if we want to win over those who aren't yet ready to support our candidates, we need to listen to their concerns and maybe learn something in the process. After all, if a parent or grandparent occasionally says something that makes us cringe, we don't automatically assume they're bad people. We recognize that the world is moving fast, that they need time and maybe a little encouragement to catch up. Our fellow citizens deserve the same grace we hope they'll extend to us. That's how we can build a true Democratic majority, one that can get things done. And by the way, that does not just matter to the people in this country. The rest of the world is watching to see if we can actually pull this off. No nation, no society has ever tried to build a democracy as big and as diverse as ours before. One that includes people that over decades have come from every corner of the globe. One where our allegiances and our community are defined not by race or blood, but by a common creed. And that's why when we uphold our values, the world's a little brighter. When we don't, the world's a little dimmer. And dictators and autocrats feel emboldened. And over time, we become less safe. We shouldn't be the world's policemen, and we can't eradicate every cruelty and injustice in the world. But America can be and must be a force for good. Discouraging conflict, fighting disease, promoting human rights, protecting the planet from climate change, defending freedom, brokering peace. That's what Kamala Harris believes, and so do most Americans. Now, I know these ideas can feel pretty naive right now. We live in a time of such confusion and rancor, with a culture that puts a premium on things that don't last. Money, fame, status, likes. We chase the approval of strangers on our phones. We build all manner of walls and fences around ourselves, and then we wonder why we feel so alone. We don't trust each other as much because we don't take the time to know each other. And in that space between us, politicians and algorithms teach us to caricature each other and troll each other and fear each other. But here's the good news, Chicago. All across America, in big cities and small towns, away from all the noise, the ties that bind us together are still there. We still coach Little League and look out for our elderly neighbors. We still feed the hungry in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples. We share the same pride when our Olympic athletes compete for the gold. Because the vast majority of us do not want to live in a country that's bitter and divided. We want something better. We want to be better. And the joy and the excitement that we're seeing around this campaign tells us we're not alone. You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this these past few months because, as Michelle mentioned, this summer we lost her mom, Ms. Marion Robinson. And I don't know that anybody has ever loved their mother-in-law any more than I love mine. Mostly it's because she was funny and wise and the least pretentious person I knew. That, and she always defended me with Michelle when I messed up. I'd hide behind her. But I also think one of the reasons Mary and I became so close was she reminded me of my grandmother, the woman who helped raise me as a child. And on the surface, the two of them did not have a lot in common. One was a black woman from right here, south side of Chicago, right down the way. Went to Englewood High School. The other was a little old white lady born in a tiny town called Peru, Kansas. Now, I know there aren't that many people from Peru. And yet they shared a basic outlook on life. They were strong, smart, resourceful women, full of common sense, who, regardless of the barriers they encountered, and women growing up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, they encountered barriers. They still went about their business without fuss or complaint and provided an unshakable foundation of love for their children and their grandchildren. In that sense, they both represented an entire generation of working people who, through war and depression, discrimination and limited opportunity, helped build this country. A lot of them toiled every day at jobs that were often too small for them and didn't pay a lot. They willingly went without just to keep a roof over their families' heads, just to give their children something better. But they knew what was true. They knew what mattered. Things like honesty and integrity, kindness and hard work. They weren't impressed with braggarts or bullies. They didn't think putting other people down lifted you up or made you strong. They didn't spend a lot of time obsessing about what they didn't have. Instead, they appreciated what they did. They found pleasure in simple things. A card game with friends, a good meal, and laughter around the kitchen table. Helping others. And most of all, seeing their children do things and go places that they would have never imagined for themselves. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or somewhere in between, we have all had people like that in our lives. People like Kamala's parents, who crossed oceans because they believed in the promise of America. People like Tim's parents, who taught him about the importance of service. Good, hard-working people who weren't famous or powerful, but who managed in countless ways to lead this country just a little bit better than they found it. As much as any policy or program, I believe that's what we yearn for. A return to an America where we work together and look out for each other. A restoration of what Lincoln called, on the eve of Civil War, our bonds of affection. An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature. That is what this election is about. And I believe that's why, if we each do our part over the next 77 days, if we knock on doors, if we make phone calls, if we talk to our friends, if we listen to our neighbors, if we work like we've never worked before, if we hold firm to our convictions, we will elect Kamala Harris as the next President of the United States, and Tim Walz as the next Vice President of the United States. We will elect leaders up and down the ballot who will fight for the hopeful, forward-looking America we all believe in, and together we too will build a country that is more secure and more just, more equal, and more free. So let's get to work. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
All right, everyone. We are live here. The former president, Barack Obama, just finished his speech. Amazing. Live on the floor. We're doing something different because I didn't know we'd have the chance to go live from the floor. So here we are. Let me make sure that I'm doing it. So here we are, live on the floor. Technology is amazing. I love you too. So this is amazing. So listen, I'm going to introduce the guest in just a moment. The benediction is happening, and I don't want to be rude. So we're going to let him pray.
God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus far along the way, you are the one who broods over the days of our lives, and without you, we would be nothing. So we lift our hopes and hearts to thee, and we pause tonight to say thank you.
So
Thank you for loving
everyone,
us.
there
Thank you
is
for not giving up on
Josh
us.
Shapiro
Thank
leaving
you
right
for
here.
giving this nation the benefits of your mercy. Because all of us can feel
Sitting on the
that
floor earlier.
something
I
enthusiastic
never would have
is
dreamt that I could
rising
go live
in the soul
on a
of
phone
America.
from the convention floor.
And
We're
all
live,
of
by
us
the way.
can
We're
tell that
supposed to
the
be
tyranny
praying,
of
by the way.
resentment has finally
Yeah.
met its match.
So I'm going to bring in
The
one of my
candidacy
guests
of
here.
Kamala
Joining me is
Harris
Errin Haines.
has
Errin is the
ignited
editor-at-large for the 19th and the host of the Amendment podcast and MSNBC contributor. Errin, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining. I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm actually just going live from the floor digitally. What did you think of, I should say speeches, not speech? It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Don, it would not be 2024 if you were not doing something unprecedented. So look at you making your own history on the Don Lemon show tonight. Okay. I love to see it. I mean, yeah, like what a night. You saw these amazing speakers, climaxing in Michelle and Barack Obama, who are still Democratic Party royalty, laying out the case, not just for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's candidacy, but really taking the fight directly to Donald Trump. It really felt personal for them as well. I mean, this is the person that succeeded Barack Obama as president, and we saw what happened in those 4 years that he was in the White House. They know, they are intimately familiar with that, and they talked about it. I mean, Michelle Obama, this is the same person in 2016 who said, when they go low, we go high. There was none of that tonight.
Yeah.
None of that tonight.
There was no, when they go low, we go high.
No.
I wonder, go on.
No. I mean, and Barack Obama certainly seemed to be having a lot of fun. I'd be very interested to see what's happening over on Truth Social after the two of them just went directly at him.
Did you notice the hand gesture when he talked about his weird obsession with crowd sizes? Did everybody catch that?
I think everybody caught that. Yes.
You think everybody caught that?
Yeah, we got dad jokes and we got another kind of joke tonight.
But here's the thing: as we continue to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about the speeches as well. But this energy from the Democratic Party is amazing. It's what everyone has been wanting from them. And thinking about, they filled not only this stadium, but they filled the stadium in Milwaukee. That was the site of the RNC 2024 convention just weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't think Donald Trump is going to be happy when you get those kinds of crowd sizes. And that was a direct hit on him, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the crowd size, the enthusiasm. I mean, that was not AI, Don. You are in that arena. You are seeing what is actually happening in there. And you can confirm for us that the crowd size is, in fact, what we think it is, and that the enthusiasm, the cheers for Barack Obama, for former First Lady Michelle Obama, for a second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, like that was very real, and that was happening in that room.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see what's happening here. When you talk about this is not AI, and listen, normally they like to move us off of the floor, and because they want the delegates to be able to see. There were so many people down here that they couldn't quite do that, and that was Miss Landrieu going out, but people are starting to leave now. But it's amazing to see. Yeah, this is not AI. This is not AI. Turn back around. I want to bring in now Michael Blake. Michael's the CEO and founder of Atlas Strategy Group, and he is a former vice chair of the DNC. Michael, welcome. I found a way to go live on the floor without the satellites and all the cables, and here we are live on the convention floor. And you know what? I'm doing it from a damn cell phone. Technology is amazing.
It is amazing. We see you out here, John. You doing it. You put in that work. We see you right now.
We outside. So tell me, what do you think? What did you think?
Not only,
what did you think?
Errin, good to see you again, my sister Errin.
Absolutely.
Not only tonight, Don, did we get an inspirational vision from our forever president, our forever first lady. Let's be clear. They checked Trump repeatedly on the disrespect that he has had for them for years. And which we just can't ignore. The rise of Trump was pretty much rooted in birtherism and racism. And you could tell they've been waiting on tonight. And so people are excited. They were hyped. And I'm still here too. And we should be feeling good because tonight set the tone for the rest of the 77 days.
Yeah. I'm going to walk around. I'm on. It's okay. Someone wants a selfie. But anyways. So listen, before you came on, Michael, thank you. Nice to meet you. Before you came on, we were talking, you know, I think the moment that's going to go viral, lots of moments, but the hand gesture from, you know, when he was talking about the weird obsession with crowd sizes. What did you think of that?
Crowd size. I mean,
well, it wasn't that. It wasn't that wide.
Not the reenactment.
I'm just saying. I mean, Aaron's eyes did it too, right there. I mean, we were all in there, like, okay, you understand? You know, look, his insecurity. You know, they were just trying to let people know. He was just talking about crowds, Don. I don't know what you're talking about. Why are you out here trying to get people all worked up, Don? Come on now. They weren't talking about nothing else. They weren't talking about nothing else out here. He ain't talking about his small shoes. Ain't nobody talking about that.
No, but listen, can I just make a point, Don? Because I was at the RNC in Milwaukee too, and we are seeing just such a contrast between what was happening.
Hey, Errin, can you hold on a second? Can you hold on a second? Tell me, can you guys hear this young lady? How are you? Can you hear her?
It's Malia from San Francisco. How are you?
Oh, what's going on? You got elected officials out here rolling out here. I love it all day, every day. I know y'all feeling good. Your president.
How did you feel? How did you feel?
It was amazing. Electrifying. The build up. This is just what day 2, but this is, oh my God, the culmination of what's going to happen come tomorrow night, Thursday, DC, California. Did you see those numbers we posted? Putting Kamala Harris over the top.
Everyone was saying, why did you abstain? They were wondering.
It's a procedure. You redirect, right? Yeah. So that we can be the last one.
You can be the last. You and Minnesota did the same thing.
I don't know why Minnesota did it.
Okay.
But maybe because of the vice president.
But Tim Wall. So they want to be the ones to do the official nomination.
Yes, that's right.
As you do.
We post our numbers at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at your old friends here on the floor. Is this your Secret Service? That is. So her detail is right here watching you. Okay, I didn't. Sorry. I forgot where I was for a moment. I'm not going to put him on.
Don't put detail on. Hey, Shasta, come here. You know, see, I got this is the chair of the Washington State Democrats out here.
Chair of the Washington State Democrats.
You know, Don Lemon, Errin Haines. I mean, we're gonna make this a whole full affair out here. We out here right now.
Thank you.
So many Black women state chairs.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We got seven Black state women chairs now.
Yeah, we wrote about them at the 19th. That representation matters. It matters, and speaks to the changing face of the Democratic Party, even the structure of the party.
100%. I was going to try to walk out of here, but I can't find a way to get out. Just to walk through and I guess show you guys some of what we're seeing here. It's crazy. How you doing? So anyway, so listen, I'm trying to figure out.
They always do the delay. That's protocol. You always let the home state get the final vote for protocol purposes.
And can we talk about that final vote? Say it again, Michael.
You always let the last state do it for protocol purposes out here. But yeah, Errin, go on. You said talk about that final
No,
vote, Errin.
I was gonna say that final vote. Can we talk about the Kendrick Lamar "They Not Like Us" choice of music?
Not
There
like
were some
us
musical
music.
choices tonight.
Let me tell you something. I mean, Little John,
Shout out to my home
North
state of
Carolina
Georgia.
was out here. Georgia came out here. It was cracking with North Carolina. This was the blackest roll call in the history of America right now.
Okay, so can we compare? I want to show. Let's put Little John up. Let's play Little John, and then we'll show what happened with the RNC.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris, President. Five, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what? Turn out for what?
I mean, it's everything.
All right, so what do you want?
Amazing, right?
Look, I just saw
That's amazing.
Little John just walked by about 10 minutes ago.
Wow.
And Martin.
Hey, everybody get your hands
What's up, Chairman?
Hey, everybody
You
get your
crush it.
hands up. Hey.
The chairman and Martin, this is the chair of the Democratic Chairs right here. Damn good night. All my people.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, then. So.
Yo, we go here. Don's in a tunnel somewhere over there.
Don, the wild, right.
Do we have the
Don is
Republican roll
testing the
call that
Wi-Fi
we can
tonight.
put up just to show the difference?
To the announcement
I
of
guess
the
not.
delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention.
Uh-oh.
Oklahoma, 43 votes.
Are we breaking
President
up?
Trump.
Are we breaking up?
Oh no, we can hear you
West
now.
Virginia.
Are we breaking up?
32 delegates.
Uh-oh. Oh, you can hear me. Yeah, I think we're in a bad signal. I'm trying to walk around and get to a place where there's better service. There we go. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, you're back.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
And we also heard that roll call.
That roll
Yes.
call was.
You heard the roll call.
plain
So I wanted to
and
put up the Republicans so we could.
Uh-oh.
So Errin, you were saying earlier about the state chairs. Talk about that again.
Yeah, I mean, just that the record number of Black women state chairs, that representation is important, and it speaks to really the changing representation in the infrastructure of the Democratic Party, right? To really be representative of that multi-ethnic, multi-gender, multi-cultural nature of the party. You know, that they're not just saying that they want to do, but also kind of showing that in who is representing this process, as well as these voters, candidates, you name it.
Absolutely.
Can you guys hear me now?
One of them earlier. We can. Yes, we can. Don.
You guys can. So we put up from the Democrats in their roll call tonight. Let's hear. I want to put up the Republicans now.
To the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention. Oklahoma, 43 votes, President Trump. West Virginia, 32 delegates.
Okay, that was the same energy, right?
I mean, I don't maybe there were no musicians available or entertainers available that night. I don't know.
Oh, yo, you got all the kind of jokes out here.
That was not the same type of energy.
We don't know.
But you know, look, at the end of the day, the roll call tonight and the roll call they had a month ago, that shows you the direction of the country. They want it to be old school, not much energy, nothing really happening. We came through, and it's live. I'm telling you right now, it's still palpable here in the arena from that roll call. I don't know how many times people get excited about a local. Oh, Don, come on.
Michael,
Come on over to me, Don.
I love that you are anchoring the show when I
Don
left
is on
before
the
because I
move.
guess there's so many people. I'm on the move and I'm walking around. I'm kind of showing you guys around the arena. I
Don,
wanted to get back
Don,
up
come
to
on
where we
through.
were.
You can come
Huh?
on over.
Yeah,
I'm here in
Don
the
is,
first
you're
row,
around the
man.
corner from
Where
Michael
are
right
you?
now.
Where are you,
Don,
Michael?
I'm about 107. This is about 107. Sarasso, this 107.
107.
Come by 107, and we can knock this out right here. We got
Yeah,
that
make a
big
right.
mic. You
I'm
know,
at
I'm going
Make a
107.
right, Don.
I'm walking over to 107. You guys see?
walk
Hang on.
through.
I'm gonna
Somebody
flip
find Don.
around. This is
This is
crazy. I can't believe
hilarious.
I'm doing this.
I love this.
Don Lemon is in that
Oh, you're
hallway.
almost there.
No, Don, you went too far. You 104,
No,
105.
he's making it. He's making his
No,
way.
I'm making my way. I'm making my way.
I'm on camera right now. I'm on camera right there.
I'm making my way.
Good to see you.
This is
Okay,
unhinged. I love it.
107. Here
I
we
see you.
are
I
at
see you.
107.
Okay.
Do I come into the suite?
Not the suite.
No,
Turn the other
not
way.
that way.
Turn
The other way.
Turn the other way.
Okay.
Yep, you see, keep walking. Keep walking.
Oh, they got me. Look, they
Yeah, they
sent a
got you.
posse for me.
Come
Wow.
on.
How are
See
you?
David
Wow.
and Bree. This is a full service
Look at the teamwork. Look
operation.
at this teamwork.
Teamwork and dream work right now.
Wow.
Oh, there you
There's
are.
man.
Michael.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
I'm just saying.
Hey,
Now I
there's
have
my meet.
FOMO.
Hi.
I
Hi,
have
everybody.
FOMO.
Hi. Wait a minute. Let me jump in here. Where's the chair? Can I steal one of your chairs? Thank
Are
you,
we
sir.
gonna
I don't
do an
want to make you
IG
get up.
live?
We're
Wow.
gonna do this. I'm gonna get right here.
Come on.
I have FOMO. I just need y'all to know.
I mean,
Hold
we
that
trying
for
to
me.
get you.
Really
I'm gonna hold
though.
it right here.
There we go.
We out
Man.
here.
We out here. So I'm gonna. How are you?
I'm good. You want me to, I can turn this one off now.
No.
There's an echo.
We're good. I'm gonna. Here's what I'm gonna do.
No, you're good.
Boom.
Can y'all hear John?
Yeah.
Errin, you can. There
Listen,
you go.
guys. I just want to know. We're gonna tilt this down a little bit.
You got your hand right here.
Now I'm producing.
Lord Jesus. John out here producing in real time.
He really is.
Oh yes, they took it off the screen, which is perfect. Sorry, look, we're just trying some new stuff. It's terrible. The sound is terrible because it's hard to hear. Who was better, Michelle or Barack Obama? Do you think that they complimented each other?
Why you try to get us in trouble, Don, out here? I mean, why Don?
Standing next to me saying, I don't know, Barack Obama was good, but I like Michelle.
I mean, I think even the president acknowledged that the first lady kind of shut it down.
Yeah.
I mean, she you could tell she's done with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That was you've been checking for me for a long time. I'm not in the White House any longer. I'm gonna let you know how I really feel.
I mean, I think when she came out with those braids, I think that said it all. I think we knew she was not interested.
Did she go low or was that a high moment?
No, she did both, and she needed to, because she was like, look, Donald Trump has consistently failed up, and she was like, yeah, no, we're not going to tolerate this nonsense, and we know what's coming. We know that the Trump strategy is going to be sexist and racist and discriminatory against Kamala Harris for the rest of the election. That's all he has. So I actually appreciated that she said real clear, yo, this cat has disrespected us. He will disrespect her. Do not tolerate it.
You know, what's interesting to me is that when they were in the White House, I felt that they were so careful, and they had to be careful, right? But there is a weight, almost like President Biden last night, a weight that is lifted where they can be more authentic, more candid, and if I can be honest with you, lean into their blackness.
1,000%.
It was very black.
Good, Errin.
No, it was definitely very black tonight. And also, I mean, you had these two also really kind of trying to remind the audience in that arena, but also the people watching that, all this excitement and enthusiasm, like when he said don't boo vote, that was also a throwback. But they're serious. They're like, you got 70, however many days left. Keep your eye on the ball. As excited as you might be about this election, as excited as you might be to see Barack and Michelle Obama on stage again, like, there's still a fight ahead, right? Like, they know that this election is going to be close, and they know who Donald Trump is, and they know who his voters are, right? So, like, I think coming from the two of them in particular, like, that is a particularly potent and powerful message.
Look, I was a staffer for 2.5 years, and I would be nervous about what I would say or do. So I can't even imagine how restrained they had to feel, where there was someone whose entire career politically was built disrespecting them. So
I think we played the moment. No, we didn't. Can we go to the Milwaukee moment with Vice President Kamala?
We will win. Because we're going to put in the hard work over the next 77 days.
Did you say hard work?
You get close.
No, we haven't already won. 77 days of work to do, my friends. So listen.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, Don. They are focused, like, be excited, but also be ready to work, because there's 77 days left. It's not election day today, right? Like, there's still a race to run when they come out of this convention this week.
How did that come about? You're the vice chair, former vice chair. How did that moment come about? And did people not know about it? Was that a surprise?
That was definitely a surprise. Look, I think it was beautifully choreographed, because a lot of times you may not have that kind of setup where you're seeing your nominee multiple times. In years past, you would have the person wait for the last day. So I loved that she came out yesterday as a first surprise. And I love that they did it together tonight in a battleground state, where specifically they did it in the state where the Republicans had their convention. I mean, it was the ultimate troll right there, right? Like,
I was saying,
it was just perfect.
Who is leading this team now? Because they have ramped it up. Did someone have a meeting and say, okay, y'all, we are going in, and just don't hold back. We're going to think of doing new different shit.
The vice president. I mean, look, when it's your campaign, you set the tone. Now, Jen O'Malley Dillon is still the campaign chair. And when Jen O'Malley Dillon has won elections, she's the one that won with President Biden. She was my boss's boss in 2012. But clearly, VP Harris has set the tone of, we are not going to be casual. Sam Johnson, I see you, brother. They're not going to be casual out here with this energy.
Yeah. And Don, can I just tell you something? I wrote in my column a couple of weeks ago about how Vice President Kamala Harris earned the nomination. And in that story, I talked to California Senator LaFonza Butler, who was on stage last night, who has known Vice President Harris for more than a decade. And what she told me is that she basically believes that Vice President Harris is in her F it, and she did not say F it, she actually said it, era, in terms of being fed up with the disrespect, with, of her leadership, with people, being sexist and racist against her. Like, she's fed up with all of that. She says, enough, I'm going to be who I am, and I'm going to be the best Kamala Harris that I can be, and and that's how I'm going to win this election. That is, honestly, having covered her presidential election in 2020, presidential bid in 2020, we are seeing a very different Kamala Harris as vice president and the Democratic nominee for president in just a couple of days than we saw 4 years ago. Like, that is real. The other thing that I will say, you talk about contrasts. So Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were also at the Republican National Convention every single night, but they were not speaking. They did not come out and address the audience there. They sat in the box and kind of presided over, everything that was happening each night. So they were not engaging with that audience and with the American people when they were there. They were just kind of watching the show, and it felt like, they were just kind of there to watch this convention that was more about them than it was about the voters, and about the choice that they have to make in 77 days. So I just also thought that was pretty stark that she has come out. She has spoken directly to the American people for 2 nights in a row now, and she hasn't even officially accepted this party's nomination.
What say you?
I think that the vice
What
president.
happened? What do you think changed? Errin said something changed. What shifted? She became the presidential nominee.
I think that if you became the standard bearer of the Democratic Party in essentially 1 hour, we've never seen something like this before.
This is Veep playing out on TV.
Like legit.
Yeah.
Like we got to think. A month ago, we woke up on a Sunday where the president said, "I'm out," and then 30 minutes later said, "I bless her to be the next one."
Sure.
And I think a lot of things that we have to keep in mind is there's so much energy because people desperately want to see somebody go hard in the paint. I really believe that. Like I think that there is this pent up energy of, speak how you feel. Like this cat is disrespectful.
But she's
So
been
check
doing that.
And
She's been doing that,
Yeah, but-
Michael.
but
She's been doing that
she's
on
the candidate now.
abortion. She was doing it. She was
Totally,
doing it,
totally.
taking the case, laying out the case against Trump as vice president, as a surrogate, when President Biden was still on the ticket. Like she has been doing that. She has been getting stronger as a candidate. And also she's been the understudy to President Biden for the past 3.5 years. So like, this is somebody who has had time to prepare for this moment and this role, and who knew going into this election that it was going to be hard and that she was going to have to put this election on her back, as well as President Biden. So, I mean, by the time we get to July 21st and President Biden steps aside and endorses her, she, it was ready to meet this moment. And that's what I think we've been seeing.
Thing I noticed in her when I saw her at Essence, and I think I saw her a little bit.
We were at Essence, yes.
Yes. For Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. It started to shift in her. I don't know if it was more confidence or just being out there in front of the people. It was just different. And then now, I think the last couple of weeks, I don't know. It feels different.
Don, you were at Essence. I was at Essence too. And if you remember, Essence came, I think, a week or two after the debate. That debate happened. And so what you had was all these people, saying that it was time for President Biden to leave, talking about, the challenges with his age, but also stepping over her in the conversation about what should happen should he step aside, right? So like dismissing her leadership, looking for anybody but her out there to be his successor. Like, I can't imagine that kind of talk does not get to her, right? So by the time she gets to the stage on Essence, you've got a room full of Black women behind her. You've got Maxine Waters. I saw that panel that you did, Don. You had, Congresswoman Waters and Congresswoman Beatty fired up to say, absolutely under no circumstances will Vice President Harris be off the ticket in any capacity. So by the time she gets
Jennifer
on stage,
Lewis.
Don't forget Jennifer Lewis. She goes on the stage with all of that kind of, at her back. I think that had to be a factor.
But I think, and to that point, we add in that days before that, you had people effectively calling for an open convention.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that has to feed into it, where you are the sitting vice president and you have folks who are like, yeah, I'm not really sure you're ready. So she was coming in already having to prepare, no doubt hot, right? Like, how are you telling me as the vice president I'm not ready? And so in large part, I think we are the recipients of someone who has been preparing to fight for what's hers.
Yeah.
And I think we're watching that in real time. And the next step on that is, look, we had the Black men call the next night. The sisters had that call the night before. If you have 44, 58, 160,000 people rocking with you immediately, that has to give you energy to say what's on your mind.
Yeah, I was on that call 3.
It was incredible.
I was in Greece.
Because you're in Greece.
Wow.
I was like, this is amazing. But listen, can you speak to something for me when you said she had all of these Black women behind her? I've heard from so many people, women and men. She wasn't my first choice, and I don't know if that was because other people were not confident in her, the president or others in Washington. But now I'm all in. They didn't, and there was a similar sentiment. Remember,
100%.
Because everybody,
I felt it when I was in Iowa.
They were behind Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, they started winning, states, and they're like, oh, okay, now we're behind it.
Yeah. Look, I think,
So what happened?
I think, and obviously Errin just had the recent conversation, so I think this is applicable. But we knew we had to win Iowa for Obama. There is no Obama if we don't win the caucus. I think there's a similar energy happening right now with her. She doesn't have space to lose anything. Like, you're going straight in. It's not like you are like, hey, I'm having multiple states in primaries. She has one election. She got November. Right. So I just think when you come in with that kind of approach, you operate differently. Like, and I think our forever first lady said it best today. Trump is a man who has been able to fail repeatedly and still succeed. Kamala Harris can't do it. You got the mayor of Chicago right there. What up, mayor? Come on, I mean, we got Don Lemon out here. We in
live.
Come on, we in your city. Come on, baby. What we doing? No, you go. He can take the seat. Come on.
This is live.
Come on, sit on down. Sit.
Yeah, let me get my sexy on like Don Lemon first. Hold on a second. Oh, what's up? What's up, America?
How did you feel about tonight?
Oh, it felt great. The excitement and energy that's in the air. What better place for the type of excitement that we're experiencing right now? What better place than Chicago? The Obamas, the Clintons, the consequential election of Joe Biden and what he means for America and our democracy. As a new mayor here in the city of Chicago, where history has been made repeatedly, from Keep Hope Alive to the Consciousness of America, to the writings of Ida B. Wells, and of course, to Yes We Can, and now When We Fight, We Win. Chicago is the capital of the world, and we get to make history when we elect the first Black woman of Asian descent to become the most powerful woman in the country.
Mayor, I used to live there. I was a local anchor on Channel 5, and I remember, introducing the Obamas at chicken dinners and this business thing or whatever. And it's just interesting to see the trajectory and to come back here to Chicago. The city looks great.
Thank you.
The city feels great.
Thank you.
And you got a lot of presence of police officers out there, so I feel really safe in this setting. So that's great. This is a real moment. You have the Obamas here tonight, right, from Chicago.
Yeah.
You have you here tonight, and you have the convention. And then we may be rolling into an era where we have another person of color leading the country.
Yeah. Yeah, look.
Black job.
Right, exactly. I thought, first of all, Mrs. Obama, she nailed it tonight. She was absolutely remarkable. But here's the thing. The story of Chicago is the love story of America. This was a city that was established by a Black Haitian immigrant who fell in love with a Potawatomi woman. And they set up a trade post at the banks of the river because they saw Chicago as the global epicenter of the world's economy. And so this is the place where, Carnegie, I'm a former social studies teacher, so if I'm nerding out on history, that's why. Yeah,
teachers are in again. Teachers are in again right now. Right. Remember, yes.
Yeah, and by the way, Mrs. Obama also shouted out social studies. So between, Governor Walz and myself, social studies teachers, we are the person that everybody goes to for advice. But when I think about the history of Chicago, from Carnegie Steel that transformed and revolutionized how we built buildings, to the Model T, Henry Ford, right here in Chicago. Electricity as we know it came to life at the World Fair. So we've been at the epicenter of a global transformation since our inception. So it's actually appropriate that we make history yet again by electing Vice President Kamala Harris.
I've noticed I've been doing, I did a road trip from New York to here, and I've been talking to voters on the way it's really been enlightening.
Yeah, I've been watching.
You know what I noticed? Thank you very much. I'll talk to you a little bit about that. But you know what I've noticed as I go to Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, beautiful cities that still do, but some used to do it more, represent American ingenuity. Detroit is beautiful. Chicago is beautiful. Cleveland is beautiful. They aren't often spoken about that way in public. When you hear Donald Trump and Republicans talking about Chicago, they're always talking about crime. They're never talking about the positives of a city like Chicago and Detroit. which are Black cities.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, I'll say it like this. People covet what they cannot have. And that's essentially what you're hearing from the former president with the Republican Party as a whole. First of all, it is excruciating watching the Republicans. I mean, I don't know what's more painful to watch Republicans or breakdancing at the Summer Olympics. I mean, it's just that egregious. But the beauty of Chicago is we have one of the most diverse economies in the entire world. Since I've been in office, $20 billion of new investment, $1.25 billion on the west and south sides of the city of Chicago that have been historically disinvested in. We have hired over 27,715 young people for summer jobs. And by the way, homicides are down double digits since I've been in office. So we are transforming this country. We're investing in people. And that's why I appreciate Vice President Kamala Harris, because much like we're investing in affordable homes and economic development and education, she's calling for $300 billion in education, the largest amount in the history of America, $100 billion to create a pathway to home ownership. Her vision is certainly aligned with what we're doing in Chicago and really what's happening across America. So 2 days down, it's an exciting moment in the city of Chicago. And, Don, you're always welcome back in the city, man. This is the place that birthed you and your career. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you again. Yeah.
Johnson minutes ago. They're saying he's got to get out of here. Your detail is trying to take you away.
Yeah, that's right. And that's my wife there. By the way, a quick shout out to the First Lady of the City of Chicago. She's the first Black woman First Lady in the history of Chicago. Tonight's her birthday. So
wow.
Celebrate her.
Happy birthday.
The love of my wife, the most dynamic human being on the planet, the person who birthed my children. And by the way, to every Black woman out there, just know that the city of Chicago, as beautiful as it is, though I'm the mayor, it's still being ran by a Black woman. Love you, Stacey.
Listen, Mayor,
Oh yeah, so I've been I got inaugurated May 15th of 2023. So I've been in office about 14 months.
Okay, because I was like, is it 2022 or 2023?
Yeah, it's still pretty new. So we got to do this again, okay?
I appreciate you coming on. Listen, I'm telling you, the city looks and it feels great. It's beautiful. It's thriving. And I'm so proud of you. And thank you so much. And the convention is fantastic.
Yeah, God bless you all. God bless America.
That was awesome. I mean, Don, can we just can we just take a minute to talk about another dynamic that is happening at this convention that happened tonight? You just saw it with the mayor there shouting out his wife, shouting out, who she is and what she means to the city. The way that President Obama, the way that second gentleman Doug Emhoff talked about the women in their lives, the qualities that they have, Vice President Kamala Harris's leadership, that is really modeling a certain type of masculinity that I think we also have to name, because that was also a contrast between what we saw in Milwaukee and here in Chicago. I mean, you have President Biden, his empathetic, inclusive approach versus former President Trump's record of limiting rights and disrespecting and demeaning women and being accused of sexual harassment and assault. Obviously, President Biden's not running anymore, but you still have this other example of masculinity that is on the ballot. And it is even more stark now that you have this contrast of this different kind of historic leadership, potentially, that our country has never seen before in a woman.
I don't know where that sound is. That sound coming from where you are? Or is that from where we are? Maybe it's coming from where we are. Okay, listen. I just want to thank you guys, Errin, Michael. 100%. Thank you. We're going to end it here because we have lots more to come tomorrow. We want to leave our folks with some time to get some sleep so they can come back tomorrow.
Sleep.
Yes.
And
I am folks.
Look, I took 2 naps today because I was that tired. You got the chairwoman of the great state of Georgia. They had Little John out here. Stephen Williams. Come right here, kid.
Just say hi, wave
out here. She be doing it. How you feeling about Georgia?
We're worried about Georgia and stealing the election and wiping people from voter rosters.
Oh,
we're good. That was all. We got it right. We're finishing up.
No, yeah,
All
no,
right,
y'all.
everybody.
Mm-mm.
We're going to run. All right. So thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. We know it was a little crude, but guess what? It was great. I thought it was great television. We got the mayor of Chicago live, everyone. So Lemonheads, make sure you hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe, and check out our journey across the country and our journey here in Chicago on our social media. And make sure you tune in tomorrow, and we're going to have some good stuff for you as well. We're going to be live with Tim Waltz in the background in the big studio tomorrow evening. So have a good evening. Thank you, Lemonheads. Thank you, Lemonation. Live from Chicago. We'll see you.